Okay, so from the foot and ankle, we made our way up to the hips. We talked about the hips. Now we know the hips are the power source of the body. If I'm going to hit a golf ball for any kind of distance, I've got to load through these big hip muscles. I always joke, God gave us big butts for a reason. These are big, powerful muscles. When gravity pushes us down and ground pushes us back up, these big hip muscles control the forces that run through our body. Well, in golf, they're incredibly critical. We know if we're going to look at these hips, and if I'm, as a right-handed golfer, look at my right hip to start, I know that it's got to be able to bend. We call this flexion. It's also got to be able to go into this adducting type of position where I slide into this hip. But the most important is got to be able to turn. If not, my belt buckle turning on this leg without this leg flying out. Okay, so that internal rotation gets those big rotator muscles in the back of the buttocks to really engage and gives us that nice, powerful explode through the ball. So a couple things we did to test that was just literally just sitting here, and I just turned to see my belt buckle. Can I turn into that hip? All right. But now once we kind of test that, we know where your range is. We want to do a little stretching on that. So a couple simple ways to stretch it is literally put the foot here, arms here, and just gently turn into that hip. I can just turn into that hip and just create a nice little stretching type of motion into that hip. In order to strengthen that hip into rotation, there's a few things we can do. We can do something as simple as doing a lunge. I can take a lunge and just rotate the lunge. As I rotate, I wind these hips up and come back out. Another thing is along the balance reach you saw us do for the foot and ankle, I could do it for the hip by just turning into this hip and turning out. Turning into the hip and turning out. So my goal is to have enough motion through this hip that I can create whatever I desire in this hip joint, and that the hip has the mobility and the strength to come out. If I master all those, and as soon as I get to the top of my backswing here, that hip, this is nothing for the hip once it's mastered these other motions. Thanks. Improve your body, improve your game.